6, 3, 2, 1. Are you ready for the show? Let's go.
Starring Greg from My Weight Loss Life. Starring Brian from Whitco's Carnivore. Starring Aaron from Brewing Better Living. Welcome to the Low Carb Lounge. Grab a drink and pull up a chair. It's showtime.
All right.
Hey, hello everybody. How are you doing today, Greg?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Brian. How about you?
I'm doing great. So we are going to have a great show tonight. We have KetoSimple that will be on the show in a little bit here. And you might notice there's just two of us right now. Erin should be here, hopefully just a little late. So she'll be here in a little bit. We're hoping, she's hoping. So we'll see how that goes. And we'll just go from there for that. Of course, we've got our Lounge Lizard trivia coming up. So everybody's going to love that because it seems like that's one of the best parts of the show lately. So
yeah.
And let's see, we have somebody here saying hi. Jennifer Lucas says it's showtime. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
Go ahead and hit the like button and say hi in the chat and so forth. I see we've got double-digit numbers already, so people are joining, so that's good to see. KetoSimple will be on in about 30 minutes. Here's Mike. Good to see Mike.
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
Lizards. Darth Carnivore. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the show.
So, Greg, I got to ask you because we always ask this every time. What are you drinking tonight?
You know, I got a new cup.
All right.
I've got some essential amino energy in there. Grape flavor tonight. So it's pretty good. I like it. So how about you?
I'm doing my trusty old water bottle with regular water straight out of my well. So
a little H2O, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm predictable. It's like always the same thing, but hey. So what can I say? All right. Let's see. Cheryl is out here saying hi from Wisconsin. So hello, Cheryl. And let's see here. Diane. Good evening. Mike says well water is the best. I agree.
Well water is the best.
Yep. And so again, I had mentioned that it was just Greg and I here to start. So it was a little different than what we usually are. But guess what? I'm about to bring Erin in. She is here. So here we go. Hello, Erin.
Hello. What did I miss? What did I miss in 3 minutes?
Nothing really. I mean, we were just saying hi to some people as they were coming in. And the only thing is I asked Greg what he was drinking. So it looked like maybe you have coffee. Am I right?
Just decaf tonight. Black.
Okay, there we go.
Keeping it simple.
All right. The champion within is there. So hello. JG is here as well.
How's everybody doing?
Yeah, so we got a good crowd coming in here so far. So basically the agenda for tonight, we've got our Lounge Lizard trivia. And then shortly after that, we're going to go ahead and bring KetoSimple in. So I'm going to get us started with trivia, I think. Is everybody ready for it?
Hey, I got a quick question for you guys.
Yeah.
How's the weather? I'm just wondering how the weather is where you guys are at.
I gotta look. I don't know.
Dry this week, today anyway, but let me see. Let me check the actual temperature. 43 degrees, not bad. I went
Not
out with
a-
just a jacket before, and it didn't feel too cold. So
It's 44 degrees here. So you know that means that
oh, it got
I'm
cold again.
freezing. Yes, it's 44. Apparently the high today was 55, but it is currently 44 degrees. So yeah, that's way too cold for me. But
It's actually currently 43 here in northern Iowa, and we are up to like 53 today. It was a beautiful day for this time of
See,
year.
we all
and,
have the same weather right now for a change.
yeah, right
it
now we
seems.
do.
so
But you
Mike
might
says
still
it's
have
too
snow on the
warm. Mike says it's too warm in Iowa.
Too warm.
The snow is all gone where I'm at.
Yeah, we don't have any snow. It's just kind of soggy in some places.
So look at that, Johnny.
Yeah.
So what was it just like a week ago? He was talking about it was like below zero temperatures
Yeah.
where he was at. Now it's 50 degrees in Chillicothe, Ohio. So that's cool. So Mike says it's 46. Well, that's still cold, Mike. It might be warm for Iowa right now, but that's cold.
Montreal's 32 degrees.
Yeah, 32.
That's pretty good for Canada, though. I mean, that's warm. I know in
Yeah,
northern
that is
Minnesota,
warm.
it was pretty warm too today. So
Yeah. Yep. All right. Jennifer says it's 50 in Indianapolis. Wow. So that's pretty good.
It's at the same temperature all across the country right now, roughly. What is up with that?
Interesting. Jennifer says it's 50 in Indy, and then Darth Carnivore 50 here in Indy. So we got a couple of people from Indy.
No, Jennifer, you
Right?
do not have to take your tree down. My tree is still up. People always comment on that.
Oh yeah.
Unless it's real, then you probably should have taken it down already.
So we have a tree in our bedroom that my wife has decorated for boy, why can't I think of that? Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So she kind of decorates it for the different holidays and so forth. So right now it's decorated for Valentine's
Why
Day.
not?
Yeah. Good. Oh, Champion Within, it was minus 30 in Chicago last week.
I
That's
can't
crazy.
even imagine what minus 30 must feel like.
it's cold.
Like
Yeah.
that's when your eyeballs freeze. You know, it's so cold. Like not cool.
Just
Mm,
about.
yeah. All right, we're gonna go to trivia because I've got like 4 questions, I think, or something like that. 4 or 5
Awesome.
questions today. So Greg and Aaron don't know these yet, so they're gonna participate just like everybody else. So when I give the question, just go ahead and put your answer in the comments, and we'll see how everybody does. All right, so here we go.
Okay, what is the first question?
Trivia question number 1. What is the most consumed beverage in the world?
I have 2 guesses. It's going to be one or the other.
Jennifer said negative 30.
Do you know the
feels
answer,
like
Brian? Obviously.
I do now, after I looked it up. So let's see. Mike says water. Hey, Brad's here. So hello, Brad. Jennifer says water. Greg says water. Darth says Coke.
The answer is water. That's a trick question.
I don't know. William says water. I mean, there are people that I know that do not drink water at all. Like,
And
they
there's
just
some
drink
places-
soda and whatever all day long.
Some places it's not safe to drink the water either.
Yeah.
Right? So
Coffee,
yeah, I'm
another
leaning that way.
water,
Or tea.
tea. I'm not sure what that is. Schnurrs?
Hmm.
I don't know. Aaron says tea or coffee, but hoping for
probably tea. It's
coffee.
probably
I
tea.
can't.
One of those.
Coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee. Johnny says coffee. Cheryl
No,
says
coffee.
water. Is water a beverage? If not, I'll go with beer.
Yeah. Oh, I never even thought that it could be beer. But I don't, but no, that wouldn't make much sense. But
Yeah. I know people that don't drink any water
Yeah.
either. It's crazy, but yeah. All right. So I think we're able to go back here and give the answer. If I can get to it. All right. So the answer is water. It really is water.
Everything
Okay.
derives from water.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's true.
But I mean, yeah, but you don't really call it that you're drinking water. Like, let's say if you make Kool-Aid or something which has water in it, right?
It's
You say
water.
I'm drinking Kool-Aid.
Mostly.
So yeah, there's water in that. But so I think when they're saying water, they mean just plain water. That's interesting. That's in the world. I wonder if you just asked in the US if it would be a different answer. 'Cause I don't
Yeah, it's
think
probably
too many people drink
Coca-Cola
a lot of
here or something
water.
like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Beer
All
back
right.
in the day, yeah, because it was
We're
safe.
going to go to question number 2, and this one is going to piggyback on water. How much of the water on Earth is drinkable without making changes, desalination, melting of the ice, etc.?
Ooh.
How much of the water on Earth is drinkable?
Are
Like
we counting
percentage-wise,
groundwater
right?
too?
Yes, this is percentage. What's that?
Groundwater, everything, so we have to take that into account? We're not just talking about lakes and freshwater streams and stuff?
Yeah, this is how much of it is drinkable as is, without,
Without desalination or
yeah,
okay.
yep.
Cool.
Yeah. So let's see.
I know I've heard this before.
So here's one saying 1%.
If it's 1%,
Aaron's
that's
is
scary.
25. Here's a 30%, 10%, 15%, 80%, 10%, 2%, 5%. We got answers all over the board. 20%, 10%. She also says 5%. All right. So I'll go ahead and reveal the answer. This is shocking. 0.3%. Now, let me find my notes because
well, thank goodness we can melt ice, right? And desalinate water.
So 97.5% of the Earth's water is salt water in the oceans. Of the other 2.5%, only a small portion is readily available to consume. The rest of the fresh water is in the form of soil moisture, atmospheric water vapor, or shallow groundwater. So that's very interesting.
It's interesting.
Yes. All right. Yeah. Greg went just a little bit over of his 80% guess.
Well, the Earth is. I was just looking at it from the standpoint the Earth is one big filter, and it filters all the water. Is all like the ocean water? Yeah, it's salt, and that needs to be filtered, which is a big portion of the world, obviously. But I thought maybe as a trick question, it would be actually a higher than lower for percentage. So.
You know what's crazy though? Even at 0.3%, there's a heck of a lot of water out there that's drinkable. Just think of that, like how much water there is on this planet. Crazy, isn't it? Oh, in Flint, Michigan, it's 0%. That's rough. Rough, but probably true. Oh gosh. I used to live in Michigan, so I'm okay with putting that mention in there. All right, we got another question. Here we go. Ready? What was the most popular way of eating in the U.S. in 2023, according to consumer data piled by Statista? If I said that right, Statista. Yes.
Most popular way of eating?
Be like the type of food or like the way people eat it?
The type of diet. Like, let's say low carb, vegan, carnivore, whatever.
So last year.
Of way of eating. Yes, in 2023. And this data was just compiled here in January of this year for last year.
Most popular way of eating. I see some standard American diets, but I don't know. With your
Mike thinks
finger.
it's with your finger.
Standard
American diet. That's definitely eating out.
Yeah, I was going to say fast food, but that
Keto.
isn't quite what
So I'm
you're
wondering,
looking
does it mean a particular diet style, or does it mean like a way of preparing food?
It's a diet style that they were looking
Diet
for.
style, you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Plant-based, standard
See, I
American.
find it hard to believe that it was
American.
plant-based.
Mediterranean, keto, fast food, standard American. Another one for Mediterranean. If I said Mediterranean, omnivorous. That's interesting. The only thing is, so this is based on a survey. I wonder how many people would say I eat omnivorous. Probably not very many people. So
I do.
what would that be considered though? Like,
Isn't that plant? Or
That's no, it's plant. It's
both.
plant and
It's
meat. It's
both,
it's everything.
right?
Yeah.
So that would maybe be considered more like standard American, maybe sort of. I don't know.
No, I mean,
I don't know.
I eat that way. I eat plants and meat.
But you're low carb, right?
Paleo.
You're low carb. So you would probably say low carb for yourself. Okay, so Johnny says paleo, another standard American seafood diet.
Oh, you know what? Here, I'm going to throw another one into the ring.
Okay.
I'm going to say low fat.
Low fat, that's a good option. Yeah.
I don't know.
Low fat was probably really popular like in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, really.
I don't know if it's as
really.
popular
Like 1987.
now.
Let's eat no
Yeah.
fat. It was no fat, right?
Exactly.
Olean in the chips. Remember that stuff? It was Olestra, I think, was the actual name of it. Ugh.
So here we go with the answer. It is high protein. 18% said high protein.
That doesn't sound right.
So for comparison, 5% said the Mediterranean diet. 4% said keto. 1% said vegan. The DASH diet, which has to do with like hypertension, stay away from salt, that kind of stuff, was 2%.
Now, were they talking weight loss diets here, or just ways of eating? You know what I mean?
Just ways of eating.
Ways of eating. Okay.
I didn't actually pull it. Standard American diet was on there. I want to say it was like 10% or something like that. It was up there pretty high. But yeah, the highest one was a high protein diet, which is interesting because it doesn't specifically say low fat, high protein. It just says high protein. So I don't know. I guess maybe people just consider themselves high protein and they might be eating low fat, or they might be eating high fat. Who knows?
I wonder what that actually means, like what they constitute as high protein.
Yeah, maybe they just eat.
I think we probably all eat more protein than what most people consider it.
Well, yeah, that's probably it too, right? They're probably like, well, let's see, I eat a couple pieces of chicken every day, so my
protein,
30 grams of protein, and every day, that's a lot.
And 800 grams of carbs.
Right? Who knows?
Yeah, Dustin has a good point. That doesn't specify plant versus animal protein either.
No, it does not. It does not. Yeah. Yeah.
That DASH
somebody
diet.
asked about DASH. Yeah, dietary approach stopping hypertension. Yeah, I don't know if somebody asked that. I might have missed it in the things here. But yep. All right, we got one more trivia question. So let me go to that. You're gonna like this one, Aaron. I'll wait until you're done drinking. So okay, here we go.
Why am I going to laugh and spit out my coffee? Okay, I'm ready.
What percentage of Americans drink coffee every day?
Good thing I finished. What percentage drink it every day?
Every day.
Oh boy. I'm going to say it's pretty high.
Greg's coming in with 35%.
I'm going to double Greg's percentage and go for 70. KetoSimple probably knows the answer. Because he's a bigger coffee drinker than me, I think.
Mike's got 25%. So KetoSimple says 30%.
He
I
might be
don't
right.
know. Darth has 75%.
Yeah, I think a lot. I don't know.
Champion
A lot of
Within
people
says
don't like
50.
it either. So
William's going with 74%. Simpson's got 62%.
now we're getting some unique percentages here.
Uncle
62.
Big Guy, 40%. I'm still waiting for like the 50.375%.
Or it could be like 0.034% or something like whatever that answer was last time.
0.03%. Luke's got 60%. Jennifer says 22.
Basically adults. But I mean, a lot of kids drink it. My daughter's been drinking coffee since she was like 13 years old.
Kids are Americans.
Runs in the family.
Uh,
In other countries, they drink it.
yeah.
Okay, what's
What
the
percentage
answer?
of Americans drink coffee every day?
Every
Aaron,
day.
you are close. The answer is 73%.
No way.
I think
Did I
somebody
come closest
said
without going
70.
over? Somebody else said 74. Oh, William. I didn't go over though. And
Okay,
somebody
so
said 75 too.
yeah, so William said 74. I thought somebody said 73. It was just William said 74. So he was so close. 73%.
Huh.
That's surprising to me because that means every day, not just like
Yeah, every day.
every couple of days or something.
Right.
Every day, 73% of Americans drink coffee. That seems kind of high to me. I would have thought maybe more like 50, maybe. I don't know.
You would think with energy drinks and stuff nowadays that percentage would be lower. I just
I
have a
mean-
hard time believing that many people drink coffee.
What are
but-
we talking with coffee? All the fancy, stupid coffee drinks to all the cold brews in a can that people drink all the time. There's like so many options.
Yeah, and like Dustin said here, that's just coffee, not caffeinated beverages. That's
Oh
just
yeah,
coffee.
if you ask caffeinated beverages, it would probably be like what 98% or something crazy.
Yeah. You know, so every time that I host a show, there's always something that I mess up. And I just got to tell you that I forgot to do something. So we're going to do it now, even though trivia is over.
Welcome to Lounge Lizard Trivia, where you too can be the smartest person in the room.
Hey, we already did the question. Should I do it again?
One more question.
might know the
Yeah.
answer.
Make them up.
What's the percentage of Americans that eat coffee or drink coffee every day? Anybody know that one? Oh, Jennifer, don't feel so bad. She says, I'm told since I don't drink coffee, that's not American. Well,
What's wrong with you?
I don't drink coffee either. I just
don't
have
either.
never
I
gotten
forget,
into
Greg.
it.
Do you
Never
drink coffee?
it.
You don't drink coffee either, Greg?
Mm-mm. Nope.
You don't.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you two? No, just kidding.
My problem is I don't want
right.
to put sugar and creamer and stuff in it. And
Oh, see, I drink it black. I mean, I drink it other ways too, but I don't mind drinking it black. So
This is a good question too. Since I was late, I'm putting our little trivia thingy up there. Here's a new question. What percentage of Americans named Rick eat iguana every day? That's got to be like 0.3% maybe.
espresso with heavy whipped cream. Yeah, heavy whipping cream. That sounds good. That's good.
Here we go. Here's somebody else that doesn't drink coffee. So Jennifer and I and Greg, we're not alone. There's at least 4 of us that don't drink coffee. Think that 73% drink coffee every day.
What happened to Greg? He went to get some coffee?
Probably. He's like, I gotta try this out now.
Try it out.
But think about that. 73% drink coffee every day. That probably means at least 90% drink it occasionally, at least, right?
Yeah.
If 73%
Yeah.
drink it every day, that's a
Yeah.
high number to me. Wow.
I actually only know a few people that don't drink it at all. And here's 2 of them right here. And the people in the crowd.
Yeah.
Would you
Greg
eat
says
it?
he'll be right back. Yeah, he says eating guarana.
I would. I could
Rick will
easily
show
sit here
you.
and say,
Rick can give you tips.
I would say I wouldn't, but I've already had alligator. So, I mean, really, well,
Mm,
how different could it be, right?
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Did you go get your coffee?
No, I had to sneeze.
Maybe that's because you don't drink coffee. No.
Yes, that caffeine will dilate those or constrict those airways and you won't sneeze. There you go.
Hey, Gail, good to see you there.
Guinea pig.
Oh,
that is
see?
true.
Gail doesn't drink coffee either, except when she does.
Oh, man, I'm outnumbered here. Okay, guys, I gotta go. Bye now.
Did you get that,
Yeah.
though, Aaron? Except for when she does.
I want to know, but everybody that doesn't drink coffee, have you ever tried it?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Doesn't everybody try it when they're a kid and they're like, oh, I want a taste of that or whatever?
I think the first time I ever had it, I was at least in my 20s, if not my 30s. To be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it's an acquired taste, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not into it. And it's funny because my wife and my mother-in-law, so my mother-in-law lives with us, and my wife and my mother-in-law drink coffee pretty much every day. My mother-in-law definitely does every day. And I'll be like upstairs working or something, and I will smell it down in the kitchen when they're brewing it. It's like, yeah, I smell coffee. Close my door.
Do you like the smell of it though or
I
not?
do not. No.
Oh my God,
It's
I
so
love the smell.
strong. It's got such a strong smell to me. Ooh.
You could smell it from a mile away. I love it. It's so warm and toasty. Yes, it sucks. I'm seeing it sucks in the crowd out here.
So I'm watching Erin over there sniffing her coffee, and it's reminded me of Saturday Night Live. That one, the one thing with the lady that like sniffs her armpits, and she's like, you know what I'm talking about? That's what
I think so.
I like your demonstration there, Brian.
Pull out your air freshener, Brian. We know you got it there from when you have a fishy office.
it's around somewhere. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyway, I think it's time to bring in our guest, don't you? Yeah, I'm gonna get this one right this time. So
He's got a coffee with him.
let's see. Here we go.
Let's welcome to the show from KetoSimple, Chandra and Dustin.
Well, it's just
Hey,
Dustin right now.
Please tell me you have coffee so we can even this out here. Close enough.
I've had my coffee for the day, and I had this. I don't normally have coffee this late or caffeine this late, but I figured I need to bring something.
oh, I still had the answer up. Oh, no. I still had
And
the coffee
water.
answer up. Sorry about that.
What's going on, Dustin?
How are we doing? Oh,
Good.
Well,
yeah, Shanda's going to be a little late. She's on her way home.
I
but
see you got a
another
cat there
friend
with
there.
you,
Look
though.
at that.
This is our
Hello.
old boy. This is our old man, Tigger.
Aw.
Tigger. That's a nice name.
He's like about 14.
I think I'm looking to the wrong side of the screen, though. Is this better? I'm mirrored here. It's confusing. Hello, kitty.
All right.
Yeah, Chandra had a viewing for a friend of hers mother passed away, so she was doing that. We didn't find out about that till today. So
Oh, I'm sorry. There's a lot of that going on. That's why I was going to be late too, Dustin. It's bad time. A lot going on.
but she's on her way home. She'll be here shortly.
Great.
Good.
I have to bring up a comment because I got the SNL thing wrong, and Diane knew it at least.
It's like,
It's her hand after she sticks that in her
Yeah.
tits. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
well, there's also the way that Aaron says coffee is reminiscent to another SNL sketch, Coffee
Yeah.
Talk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I missed that one.
Coffee talk. When Barbara actually appeared one day as a surprise. Do you remember that? Barbara Streisand? Like they brought her on as a surprise and they didn't know she was going to be there. Who used to do that? Mike Myers, I think.
Mike Myers, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he was the lead, I think, for that one. That was funny.
Like
Talk amongst yourselves.
Rhode Island is neither a road nor an island. Discuss.
Discuss. Yeah.
All right. So let me put something up here really quick if I can find it. Here we go. I'm gonna have scrolling here where you can find Chandra and Dustin's YouTube channel at KetoSimple. So I know we're waiting for Chandra, but until then, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your channel and what you guys do there.
Sure. So our channel has evolved over the last 3-4 years. Started with just me. She wasn't really interested about being on camera or being involved with the channel, really. So I started off doing mainly recipes. Then I started doing some podcasts. I did about 11 in my initial run of like podcasts. Like I would record them and then edit them and put them up. I started doing those again, but doing them live. And then I started doing product reviews, and she wanted to try the products, but didn't want to be on camera. So I'd have the camera pointed at me. We'd both be mic'd up, so people could hear her but not see her. And I would get the weirdest thing. How come she's not on camera? She needs to be on camera. And I'm like, I'm trying, And then finally, about 2 years ago, I got her to be on camera with me, and we still do product reviews. We do our Tuesday live stream together. I do a live stream on Saturday mornings with guests. I do Sunday morning lives by myself and just talk with people while I have my coffee. So still trying to piece into so the lives are a lot easier these days than it is trying to film other content. I would like to put out more informational content. I have a laundry list of informational content that I want to put out. Stuff was up fasting, electrolytes, what's the difference between artificial and natural flavors, all these things that people have questions on. I'm working on putting those things together. I just have to sit down and actually record them, edit them, and put them up. So got a lot of information that I want to put out. I just have to do it, which is easier said than done. So we both hang out during the week with our granddaughter. Chandra is an RN, and she works on the weekends. So she has to work every Saturday, Sunday. So that's why I started doing Saturday and Sunday lives, because I was here by myself. And I'm just sitting in the morning drinking my coffee, watching YouTube. Why not be on YouTube with my coffee both mornings? And that's how that kind of started. So my first video went up 4 years ago, and it sat there alone for about a year, and then I started putting up normal content after that. And his claws are little razor blades, and he doesn't realize it. He thinks they're like foam. So he like if we're sitting next to each other, I'll have like basically kitty cuts all down my arm. He's kind of but we love him. He hurts me.
Yeah.
What else would you like to know?
So your channel's KetoSimple. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your eating style?
Okay. So for me, it shifts. I'm primarily carnivore. I like and feel best when I'm eating just like beef and eggs. Ow. All right, you're done. I'm trying to talk to these nice people and you're hurting me. Animal abuse. Anyway. So I feel best when I'm eating just meat and eggs, but that's not always realistic. So I still like vegetables. I still like broccoli, Brussels sprouts. And we do the food reviews. So I like keto chow. I have that. I like other brands. I like pork rinds. So that's basically the way that it goes. I like to fast as well. I try to get at least 1 7-day fast in the beginning of the year and one towards the middle to end of the year. I utilize fasting as a tool as well. So if I'm going to be doing something where I don't want to eat, I can utilize that where I can go, like if I'm going on a trip or something, or going to be out doing things where food is going to be iffy and I don't feel like eating whatever they have, I can fast 24, 48 hours, not a huge deal to me. I fasted up to 21 days before. So realistically, my eating style is what is the easiest possible thing I can do for me. I don't like to meal prep. I don't like to plan ahead for meals. So basically, we just cook a lot of like beef steaks, burgers. We like chicken thighs cooked in lard with the skin on so they get all crispy.
Yeah.
Bacon, pork belly, though pork isn't the friendliest to us. Gives us a little bit of indigestion, a little heartburn sometimes, which is weird, but it does. And pork, we don't eat a lot of pork outside of the pork belly and bacon for that fact, because it seems to give us heartburn. I think that it's because you have to fully cook pork. And we've gotten to the point now where we eat our meat, our beef, relatively rare. Me more so than Chandra, but so I'll cook everything super rare. If she's not happy with how cooked it is, she can cook it longer. And basically we do that because that also works for her lunches, so I can make her lunches for her work schedule, and then when she goes to reheat them, they don't get overcooked in the microwave or whatever. So yeah, so realistically my eating style is just meat, eggs, some veggies here, cheese, heavy cream, the random snacks that we do taste tests on, which is not all that often. And when we do usually make them, we bulk film. So we'll do 6 or 8 in a sitting. So that's usually kind of not great because then we're like trying 6 or 8 things and right in like a 2-hour period. But then we won't do it again for 2 months because those videos will last us about 2 months.
Yeah.
And then I know you drink coffee. Other than coffee and water, is there anything else that you typically drink, or is it just basically those 2 things?
I have a soda addiction too. I like soda. I like energy drinks. I shouldn't drink them, and I know better, but I like them. So I will go and restrict myself from those from time to time. I try not to have sodas unless we're out to eat or something, but sometimes I just need them. But water, I like bottled water. For some reason right now, our home water is not very good. I think there was some kind of water main broke and it's not back to normal, so the water tastes funny. So bottled water it is. The little 0 sugar, 0 calorie little squirts you can put in your water, like the Neos type stuff, but like the Walmart and Aldi brand ones. Those aren't bad, and those help us to get a little more water in, if you will. So basically water, coffee, and when we can avoid it, soda, I guess.
Yeah. And then really quick, going back to your eating style, is how often a day is it pretty consistent, like a couple times a day or 3 times a day, or how does that work for you?
It's typically my coffee is a meal in the morning because I put heavy cream in it. So that's going to be enough calories to be considered a meal. And then I don't really time restrict, because if I'm hungry, I'll eat. But most days I eat between like 3 and 5 o'clock, depending when I'm hungry or what we've got going on. So I usually just my one main meal and then my coffee in the morning, typically. Sometimes more, but on a regular basis, it's going to be my coffee when we get up, and then one solid meal in the afternoon, evening. Sometimes it's not till 9 o'clock. Like I said, it really just depends on when we remember to eat. That's the big thing, is it's so easy for us to just forget to eat, to get busy and just forget. And then I'm like, oh, we haven't eaten today. And we'll whip up eggs or something easy. So that's where like our food being as easy as we can, keep it, because I do all the cooking. so I can throw something together in like less than 10 minutes. And whether it's cooking a couple of steaks or cooking some hamburgers or warming up some chicken. Because when I do cook chicken, I cook it in a big pan. So I cook like one of those family packs,
Yeah.
even though it's 2 of us in the house. We're basically empty nesters. So I'll cook a family pack of chicken. We'll eat 2 or 3. That leaves about 6 or so left. Put that in the fridge, and then that's tomorrow's or the next day's food. So
Nice.
So I want to remind everybody watching that if you have a question for Dustin or any of us, really, just put Q in the front and ask the question in comments, and we'll get to your question as soon as we can. In the meantime, I do have another question for you, Dustin. So I'm assuming that you haven't ate this way your entire life. So how did you used to eat, and what made you come to eating more of a keto carnivore-ish mixture there, I guess, like maybe a ketovore-ish, maybe it is, right, style of eating? How did you come to that?
Well, up to 2016, I ate whatever I wanted, how much I wanted. I was a legitimate like food addict. I didn't realize it then, but I was addicted to food, all the normal things. I would go get food and sit in my room and eat it. And but I mean, even the time, like my friends would be like, oh, you eat a lot. That's cool. They cheer you on because you're eating, go out to eat and eat all this food. We'd order way too much. And I ate way too much too often. So like anybody, when you start getting to a certain size, like I got to be over 420 pounds. There's a lot of limitations, a lot of things that happen when you get to be that large that you can't ignore, but you can kind of ignore. Does that make sense? Like, like I started buying 50-inch pants, wearing my pants below my belly. Because if I wore them up on where your waist would be, it would be 60, 65 inches, right? Which would be even harder to find clothes that size. 5X t-shirts, we started buying those. I had this umbilical hernia that stuck out about the size of my fist that I'd had for about 6 years, and I just let it go. And the wife, being a nurse, was like, we need to get this taken care of. And I had very bad sleep apnea. I snored real bad. I would wake up in the middle of the night choking and coughing and catching my breath and all that stuff. So finally in 2016, it was time to take care of all that stuff. So I started going to the doctor to try to get a CPAP, and I tried to start getting my way to get my hernia fixed. And it was in these doctor visits that I stepped on the scale and discovered I was 420 pounds. I mean, I knew I was big. There were things that I couldn't do anymore. I could no longer use the bathroom in our downstairs powder room. I had to go upstairs. I had to use the handicap stall at work because the other ones were just too narrow. I just couldn't. It just didn't work. And there was all gastrointestinal issues, coming up. That I was like, so it's probably milk. I'm probably just lactose intolerant now or whatever. And then so Chandra decided that surgery was not for me because in the unit that she worked at the time, they saw a lot of pancreatic cancers and pancreatic things, but they would also get the influx of surgery, like people coming back in later with surgery issues or issues from their bariatric surgery. So she would see all these complications and said, and be like, no, that'll be the absolute last resort. So let's try low carb. But we had no idea what low carb even was. What is a carbohydrate? We knew, sugar's bad, but we hadn't caught on to the fact that, pasta and grains and quinoa and all these things were all carbohydrates as well, cereals. So we had a basic understanding, but not really. We were looking at lowering down to 150, 200 grams of carbohydrates a day. And that's kind of what we did. And I lost about 10 pounds the first month just doing that. And then I was in charge of looking for low carb recipes. And I kept coming across this epileptic site that was giving all these like soups and things, recipes for children who were epileptic. And so I kept seeing keto. And one day we were at my GP office in the process of getting paperwork moving forward and getting things moving forward for my surgery. And he was like, if you want to lose weight, you really need to be in ketosis. But he didn't elaborate what ketosis was. But me being the smart man that I am, I'm like, ketosis, they're probably the same thing. So I went and I started looking up like podcasts, and I found 2 keto dudes, Richard and Carl, and I listened to everything they had up to that point within like 2 weeks. Just binge listen to their stuff. And like on the way to work, while I'm at work, home from work, just listening every single day. And decided, that's going to be what's, after I had my surgery, I was like, let's do keto. And I was explaining it to Chandra, and the doctor saying, if you want to lose weight, you got to be in ketosis. They're explaining how to get into, into ketosis. At the time, the standard was ketogenic lifestyle. Standard was moderate protein, high fat, low carbohydrate. And because they were still looking at gluconeogenesis being supply driven and not demand driven, which didn't really change until about 2 years ago. So we were doing that, and the weight just fell off. I mean, I got my lowest weight I got down to was about 273 from 420.
Wow.
And then the pandemic, I got back up to about 340. Now I'm down about 300 again. So just that, and then not leaving the house is one of those really difficult things. Like weight, even with a ketogenic lifestyle, doesn't come off as easy if you're not doing anything. You can still maintain and you can still lose weight, but not to the same scale that I did when I was still, even though I had a sit down office job, I was still getting up, getting in the car, driving to work, walking in the building, walking to the bathroom, just moving a lot more than I do now. I have a gym membership, but I don't go because, that's what we all do, right? Most of us. I have plans to go. They've got a sauna and they've got red light therapy and a steam room and hot tub and all the weights and everything you'd want. But getting up and going, because, just life seems to get in the way. But, I never gave up on the ketogenic lifestyle. We, during the pandemic, strayed more. We ordered out more than we ever had since starting keto. We would Thai food and we would order in Chinese food sometimes, all these things that we knew we shouldn't do. But when you're kind of like locked away and you're just like, well, that self-comforting with food kind of creeps back in. But now we're kind of moving forward out of that. It's been a year or two since that. So we've done things. We've done triple B and E. I just, like I said, started the year with a 7-day water fast and just keeping ourselves accountable. So this channel was really helpful with that.
Yeah.
Talking with all of you people, the people in the chats, just being a part of the community has a sense of accountability, a sense of, we know what we need to do, so let's continue to do it. So that's where we are right now.
Awesome.
Okay.
And
So
Mike Shaw is asking, how did I find a keto doctor? He wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily a keto doctor. He was on his way out to it. He was my grandmother's doctor. So I would take her in to see him. So I was like, well, I might as well move on, because I didn't have a GP for a long time. Not until wanting to start the surgery process. I didn't go to the doctor. I knew I was big. I knew if I went, they would try to tell me I'm diabetic, and they would try to tell me, obviously you don't get to be over 400 pounds and not be diabetic and not be high blood pressure and probably bad, actually having like high triglycerides and the actual cholesterol you should worry about, and not what we think we should worry about. But so I just never bothered to go to the doctor. Had heartburn for 20 years. I took omeprazole over the counter for 20 years. I was able to stop doing that. But yeah, he wasn't a keto doctor, because even when I went back about a year and a half later and I've lost a bunch of weight, I told him, and he looked shocked. So, I mean, he was like, if you want to lose weight, you got to be in ketosis. But like I said, he never elaborated to us what that meant. He just said, you got to be low carb, don't eat mashed potatoes. But he wasn't like giving us a guideline, because I don't think he knew. Maybe, I don't honestly know. Like I said, he was an older doctor he's been retired now for a long time.
Yeah.
But so I know we have keto doctors out there, but he just happened to mention that to me. So that was fortunate for me, but it wasn't like he was like, go keto. I mean, maybe in a roundabout way, but I honestly don't know. After being around him for a while and having visits with him, I don't know if that's where his mind was at or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
We had another question that came up earlier, so let me go back to that. This is from Jennifer. She says, for those of you who don't eat 3 meals a day, how do you explain skipping meals to the little ones in your life? So I think you said that you're empty nesters at this point, so you probably don't have experience with little ones doing this, right?
Well, we do have our granddaughter 5 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have her 5 days a week. We basically take care of her breakfast. And she did live with us for a while before. So she's been around us since she was born in 2018. So we were 2 years keto when she was brought into she was raised on bacon and eggs. Like even today, like she won't want to eat anything, but she's like, oh, I can eat some eggs. I mean, she gets a little more grace than we would ever have.
Yeah.
Because she's 5, getting her to eat, to sit down and physically eat, is almost like a fool's errand, because she would rather do anything else than eat. Now, when we do get her to eat, we get her to eat what she calls mac and cheese, which is cottage cheese. We get her the 4% milk fat cottage cheese. Sometimes the whole milk's not as easy to find.
Yeah.
So the 4% is typically what we find. The Daisy brand seems to be relatively clean. Eggs, any kind of candy she gets at our house. We have the like the Smart Sweet Suckers that she likes. She's not a big sweets kid, but she likes Cheetos, and she likes the little round cheese balls, like the little the orange ones. She likes those. We keep a big tub of those, but we give her a little baggie of those. And we're like, so we're mindful, but at the same time, she's so skinny, but we need her to eat. So she won't even, sometimes she'll be like, ooh, I want chicken nuggets. So I'll buy a bag of chicken nuggets from Costco. I still have like 3/4 of a bag of chicken nuggets from Costco. So we try to buy things that she said that she will eat, but then she won't. So that's the struggle. But to answer the question for Jennifer, she hasn't questioned that yet. Now, she did have issues when I was fasting this year. Because she'd be like, here, try this. Here, try this. And I'm like, well, I'm fasting. And she was like, why are you fasting? Well, that's, it's not easy to, it's just, well, Paul's just not going to eat right now to help me be healthy and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, she took that at face value. I don't really know how to explain that to a 5-year-old. But so Shander just got in here, so she'll be coming in a little bit. Yep. She's just saying give her some time. She's getting ready. But yeah, she doesn't really question the fact that we don't eat, because typically in the morning when she's eating her breakfast, I make my coffee, Chandra's coffee. I make eggs for Chandra to split with her. I get her mac and cheese, berries, strawberries, blueberries. Sometimes she wants like hash browns or chicken nuggets, but not often. But eggs every day. She eats her eggs. She's a good eater of eggs. But even sometimes, just getting her to eat the cottage cheese or the eggs, and not run around the house like a chicken with her head cut off, is the struggle. So getting her to eat good food is not the hard part. It's getting her to eat food at all.
Eat it all.
Yeah. I wish to some degree that I was just like, you know what? I don't want to eat. I want to go gym. For all intents and purposes, that happens to me if I'm editing videos or doing something. I can just forget to eat, which is fantastic. I never forgot to eat before. I was always planning the next meal during that meal. Now I'm like, I do have that. And something that Thomas DeLauer had released a video yesterday, the day before, talking about Dana White, who owns the UFC. He did a extended fast, not quite 7 days. It was like 5 or 6 day fast, maybe. And he was talking about when he got to like the third day, he wasn't hungry, but all he could think about was food. And I was thinking to myself, I relate to that so hard because when I fast, get about 3-4 days in, I'm watching like, diners, drive-ins, and dives. I'm watching like food challenges. I'm watching the Dave Portnoy pizza reviews.
Bad choice.
I'm like, it's just the thing. I'm like, eat all that food. Yeah. It's so bizarre. And I had never thought that was going to be something that anybody else dealt with. And then they, Thomas Lauer talking about Dana White and had like little clips of Dana White talking about that.
Hi.
And she's
Hi, guys.
Hi.
So yeah, that's a weird thing for me, like with the fasting. But yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, a good friend of mine, mom passed away.
Oh.
So we went to
Sorry.
visitation. I just jumped in. I have no idea what we're talking about.
Sorry to hear about that. Welcome to the Low Carb Lounge.
Hi.
We're just hanging out talking about. So they had some questions earlier, like what do you think the percentage of drinkable water is on planet Earth that doesn't have to be, that's potable? So that doesn't have to be boiled. It doesn't have to be run through desalination. But what's the percentage of water on Earth that is instantly potable at any given time?
I don't know, 15%?
0.3.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Yep.
That kind of makes sense.
And then this one's basically for you. What's the percentage of Americans who drink coffee on a daily basis?
Oh, 90%.
So like her, like so I make her coffee first.
Yeah, if I don't have my coffee, it's a bad thing.
It's 70.
70%?
Yeah.
Well,
But that doesn't talk about the other caffeine means.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other 30% of you need to get on board.
Yeah. And
Coffee's amazing.
we talked about how we got started with keto, and I talked about the surgery being 400 plus. How whatever the doctor's name was at the time, I can't remember.
Dr. Seppa?
No, not that doctor.
Your doctor.
Yeah, the GP.
Oh.
I can't remember his name. He's long retired now, but he
Should have retired then.
but he mentioned ketosis to him.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Wyatt.
Yeah, Dr. Wyatt. Yeah.
Wyatt. Dr. Wyatt. Yeah. Yeah, he had just said it in passing, and then it stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad it did. I get to keep you longer.
Aw.
Don't, but she wants to be the one that kills me.
That's true. I've been working on it for years. It's a long-term plan.
I've read her diary. It's true.
I don't have a diary.
That's why it's funny.
Oh.
So, going back to that question that we had, Greg or Aaron, did either of you want to try and answer that about? So the question was, I lost it already because I didn't keep it up. But the question was basically someone asked how you explain to kids if you're eating like less than 3 meals a day, it's like 1 or 2 meals a day. Do either of you have any thoughts on that before we move on to any other topics or questions?
Greg.
I was going to say, I think, as a parent, it's important to teach your kid what you feel is important. And, it's just one of those things, the child's going to be taught something at school, but it may not be correct. So it's kind of one of those things when it comes to food and eating. I think it's important to lead by example. Granted, I think people sometimes just eat when they're hungry, and I think that's okay too. As long as they aren't eating a ton of meals a day, I guess. But, for myself, I usually just eat 2 meals a day. So, I guess, if I had young children, I'd probably encourage them, but at the same time, you got to be careful because you got to think of their nutrition. Their bodies are growing. They are not an adult. So, you have to take that into consideration too. And yeah, that's kind of a tricky one. Just like I said, adults are different than kids. So you got to make sure they're getting the nourishment they need too.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter's basically an adult. She's 17, so she really doesn't pay much attention to what I do anymore anyway. But right? Am I right?
Right.
But I do eat 4 meals a day now because I'm doing the strength training and whatnot. But when I was intermittent fasting, I don't know if she ever noticed. If she had asked, I would have told her, that basically some people do it for health reasons and the reasons behind it. I do try to explain some things to her, hoping that someday if she has issues, she'll remember what I did and health issues like I do and whatnot. And like Greg said, lead by example too with that. So I as a 17-year-old, if she asked, I wouldn't sugarcoat it. I would tell her. But little kids, I guess you could explain it to them too in simple terms. Everybody does different things for their health and things like that,
Yeah.
So
Our boys were teenagers when we started keto, and we basically tried to get them on it with us. And the middle one, I basically told him I wasn't going to pay for his school lunch anymore since we had all the food at home. So you pack your lunch or you don't eat, or you eat when you get home. And he managed, got all the way through school and did fine with that. And then he would further into keto. He's like, I really just don't feel hungry. And I was like, you know your body. You do what it tells you to do. But with little ones, you're still the parent. You still have to be in charge.
I told her basically that it's not what she eats; it's eating in general. That's the trick.
Yeah, often, and that's a normal thing. Like for toddlers through probably 7 and 8 year olds, getting them to eat at all, is often a problem. I don't have any tips or tricks for that. Just
hold them down.
Just
spit it in their mouth like a bird.
Don't baby bird it. That's gross.
What are you gonna do?
So Susan, thank you for checking out their channel, subscribing. Everybody check out on the scrolling thing at the bottom at KetoSimple. That is their channel. So go check it out if you're not already familiar with their channel. And I see we have another question, so I'm going to go to the question. Here we go.
Hide your heel.
Hide your heel.
Question about the surgery thing. So my friend got it ages ago, and last week I asked him if he did a number 2 yet. He said not in a week.
So if you haven't pooped in a week, that's a problem.
So talking about basically some sort of gastric bypass or some sort of weight loss surgery, and he was basically teasing him, asking him for just to see, like, did you poop? Have you pooped yet? And he says he hasn't done it in a week, which she's basically saying that
if you haven't pooped in a week, that is a problem, and you need to talk to your doctor. Everybody has their own different poop schedule. Pre-surgery, right? So pre any surgery, you have your own poop schedule. Some people go every day. Some people go multiple times a day. Some people go every 2 to 3 days. Whatever's normal for you is okay. However, if you've had surgery, you should have a poop within 3 days of your surgery, 3 to 5. If you haven't had a poop in 3 to 5 days, you need to call your doctor. Not a doctor, not giving medical advice, just saying pooping after surgery is important.
it's a good thing. No, like, because they usually, even with my surgery with the hernia, they gave me like a laxative, and I had to drink it every day, and about 5 days.
Yeah, 3 to 5 days post-op, you should have a bowel movement, and if you haven't, you need to call your doctor.
All right, thank you. So Aaron, I'm going to give you the opportunity here. Do you have any questions for Dustin or Chandra?
Yeah, I had a question. I remember on an episode that you did, Dustin, where you were talking about you guys and Christmas and eating. And I remembered thinking that was interesting that you, I don't want to say go off plan, but you guys do special things from time to time just to stay on track. I believe you did like pizza or something for
Mhm.
Christmas, and like it was planned ahead. You knew what you were doing. Why do you guys think that that's important for you staying on track? And I'm asking for everybody because I do something similar where I feel like if I eat special things, like it's easier for me to do what I have to do than, denying myself things and then feeling like, I have to have them. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
why do you do that? And how does that work for you?
As for someone like myself, which I am, a legitimate food addict, if I put if we put ourselves into a situation where we say we are never having X pizza, whatever again, we're never going to eat it ever again,
Yeah.
then it kind of sits here. And you think about it and you stew about it and you're just kind of like, it works its way into your brain. And then, like, because forever
Is a long
yes.
time.
So something like Christmas Eve, we made the decision for a couple of factors. So we have all our kids, they come over, they're not necessarily keto by any stretch.
Right.
One of them sort of is now. At the time they were not, but it was okay. She was working Christmas Eve till not getting home till 8:00, 8:30 at night on Christmas Eve. I was doing things during the day. I think we had that really nice long Christmas Eve chat that day, Aaron. It was like 4.5 hours.
That was the 4.5 hour live stream. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So it was easy for me. Then I also didn't want to like end Christmas Eve and have a bunch of dishes and all of those things. So it was like, okay, we knew in advance I could call Costco. I could order 4 pizzas. That'll feed everybody. I can send it home with them when they're done. So we didn't have that for leftovers. And they had something to eat in the morning or whatever before coming over to our house to do our family Christmas. So it kind of scratches the itch of sometimes you want what you know you shouldn't have.
Right.
Whether that's an alcoholic, I mean, unless you're a recovering alcoholic or something like that.
Yeah,
like
you probably shouldn't have a beer.
Or like having because it's similar, but not quite the same. But like for us, like sometimes we just want Thai food or sometimes we just want sushi and we're good.
And the big thing for us is like when you put it in and you plan, then you have something that you're looking forward to.
Yes.
So all the times when candy or cookies or whatever is brought in, like at my work, I can look at it and go, I already have something. I'm not even tempted because I already have something I'm looking forward to later. And then, like he said, we pack it up and send it home with the kids. Like I don't want leftovers because we'll eat them.
Right.
So no. And if we go out and it's like at a restaurant or something, we don't take our leftovers home.
Unless they're keto-fied, like BW3s or something like that.
B-dubs or like the pizza joint that's near us that does the keto pizzas.
Right.
But if it's not keto, it doesn't come home with us. So we've had our off plan. We knew it was coming. We prepared for it. And now we're going to do well afterwards because we're done. That was it. And we basically work on keeping each other accountable because both of us are like, oh man, this sounds really good. And if we both get on the bandwagon, we're both going to do the bad thing.
Which actually, weirdly enough, happens when we go to the grocery store together.
Yeah, I try not to go to the grocery store at all because if he sends me pictures of things he wants from the grocery store, it's easy to say no.
No. But if we're both there, it's easy to put it into the cart.
It's already in the cart.
Yeah. So we have a system.
It does work.
And I think that for most people, completely abstaining from most things is probably a good way to start. And that's what we did for a multitude of years. So like the first 3 years, we didn't have any real cheats. Because even in the beginning, I would have too many vegetables and I would feel it in my joints or whatever. And I'm like, oh, yep, I got to stay strict. But over time, we were able to start kind of playing with it and, experimenting because it's been over 8 years for us now, I think.
Yeah.
So just kind of understanding because you get to know yourself.
Right.
Because before going keto, I didn't realize I was in as much pain as I was in. I was taking probably, if she would have known how much ibuprofen I was taking, she probably would have freaked out.
I had to take some of them away from him this week.
Well, I don't take it often now, but usually when I do get a headache, I just want to take enough to make it go away, and then I'm good.
It's called a ceiling effect.
I know.
You only take the dose that's written on the bottle. You take more than that, you're not getting more benefit. You're only getting more badness.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, I was
have to
taking.
lecture him about it all the time.
I mean, ibuprofen was part of my regimen. I get up in the morning, take it before I go to work. I had ibuprofen bottles at work.
Mm-hmm.
Like my legs would
Benadryl.
bother me. Benadryl. I was taking
Lethal amounts of Benadryl.
I was taking 4 at a time, 5 times a day.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I wasn't falling asleep. Some people could take one Benadryl and just be knocked out. I'm driving. I'm working a sit-down job, focusing, and then getting into keto. I found that I didn't need it as often, and it didn't need it. And then, like, I remember one day I hadn't had it, and I didn't even think about it. And I remember sitting there at my desk about 2 to 3 o'clock, and this is kind of like that epiphany moment that that what do they call it, like come to church moment or whatever. A come to Jesus moment, a come to church moment. For me, I'm sitting at work. It's about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not tired. I'm not drowsy. I'm not fighting to stay awake at my desk. I'm wide awake. It's like I'm living in HD, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I don't need to go scrounge for whatever's at somebody's desk. I don't have to go look for candy bowls or whatever. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm awake, and I'm not drowsy. I'm not literally fighting. There were days where I would like almost doze off at my desk, and like that's where you don't want your manager walking around and seeing you like.
Yeah.
You just because that's an unemployable moment type thing, and you don't want that. But I was just like, I can never not do this.
No.
This is a forever thing. And then having that moment, and then, in a few years, we decided, we experimenting with things and then understanding ourselves.
And you started
tasting things on the channel. I kind of talked about how you started off where you weren't on camera, and then I basically slowly persuaded you to be on camera.
Yeah. Now we are.
Now I've got her on live streams. She's famous on the internet.
That's not a thing.
But yeah, just understanding oneself is the biggest part of this journey that I do kind of think gets overlooked. We focus so much on whether you're carnivore, whether you're ketovore, regular keto, dirty keto, clean keto, vegan, paleo, whatever, but we never stop to ask, do you understand yourself enough to come to terms with the fact that I have food addictions, food triggers, and I even still learning more about myself to this day with what can trigger me. And sometimes I'm upset with what will trigger me because it's so trivial. There's something so trivial will almost make me go to McDonald's, and I'm like, that is so like infuriating, but eye-opening at the same time. Like, I had trouble one day. I was at the grocery store, and for whatever reason, this grocery store had basically taken away all the live people and only had self-checkouts, but the self-checkouts weren't bug-free yet. They were new. They're like a day or two. And I'm trying to scan my items, and it took me about an hour to scan half a cart of groceries because I would scan something and put it on the belt and go halfway down and come back. And I had to get the poor girl to come over and help me over and over and over again. And I was getting frustrated at having to bother her, frustrating. It had been taking me an hour to scan my groceries, and frustrated with just the whole thing of just the whole situation, that when I was outside finally putting on my stuff in the cart, from the cart to the car, there was a McDonald's in the parking lot. And I look over and I go, I bet you that getting some double cheeseburgers and some McNuggets would just make me feel so much better. And it was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was even texting her about it. I'm like, I'm upset. I'm in the parking lot of Kroger, and there's a McDonald's, and I want McDonald's, and I know I shouldn't have it, and I'm upset. And it was just like the most random, trivial, like asinine thing to be upset about that made me want to go eat this food that I know is going to make me feel like trash the next day. So I kind of feel like those moments are so important for us, not only to internalize, but to talk about. And because I know I'm not the only one that has those kind of issues, whether it's because of grocery shopping or whatever it is. You had a flat tire today. Your debit card didn't work at the grocery store, or whatever, your bills are higher than you can afford, whatever you're dealing with can send you off in this direction you don't want to go. So
Yeah.
Okay, we have a couple of questions that came in here. Let me see. First one. What are your thoughts on processed foods that are keto? So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's labeled keto friendly, but it's not necessarily good keto, right? So what are your thoughts there?
100%.
Most of it's trash.
Yeah.
And a good portion of it tastes terrible too.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, that's one of the important things about why we do kind of taste test. And we are kind of known, if you've watched a lot of any of our food tasting videos, 80% maybe a little bit more are, this is gross.
There's a lot of them where I think they need to fire whoever's in their flavor department.
Yeah, and then we do have some things that we like, and we want to be truthful. I know that being that honest and that abrupt and blunt is going to stunt our ability to have sponsors in the future, but we want to be honest because that stuff isn't cheap.
Yeah,
all that stuff is like starts at $5, $6, $10, for whatever it is. It's expensive. And if I can try it so you don't have to, and then if I do find something that you do like, that I can say, okay, here's a product that's on the market that says keto, that's relatively clean, and it doesn't suck.
No, there aren't many of those.
There's not.
There really aren't.
And so, and there's been some that we liked in the past that have gone.
That's frustrating. Anytime I like something, they inevitably discontinue it. But that, the keto labeled products for the most part are barely keto at best, and most of them are nasty.
And sometimes the companies you think would make the most trashy ones have some good kind of. There's something like I want to say it was either Betty Crocker or it's one of the cake mixes was actually relatively like how you would make it if you made it at home, basically, but in a mix, ready to go.
Yeah.
So, you can still find some, but you have to look at your ingredients. You have to be able to kind of understand what you're looking at and understand, like, how does allulose affect you versus stevia versus sucralose. So there's a lot of work that goes into this too. So yeah, I would say that if you're struggling and you're new to keto, some of those keto products can be like a crutch to help you get through. But I would always recommend anybody focus
on
whole foods as much as you can. Meat, eggs, cheese, if you like veggies or whatever, focus on that, and that's going to get you a lot farther than relying solely on all the processed foods. But
plus they're really expensive.
Oh yeah, you can't afford to live on those.
Yeah.
Great advice. All right, we have another question. What's your number one why?
Our number one why? I think
I know why. Mine.
Me?
I know mine. Do you know yours?
I think it's shifted over time. Initially, it was weight loss because I think that's why most people gravitate towards this. And if they find any kind of success, even if they don't lose a lot of weight, they will still start seeing some of those non-scale victories and non-scale successes, such as pain relief, getting off of medications, mental clarity, just an overall improved mood and outlook on things.
Well, what's yours? Yours was weight loss at first.
And I think just now is just the ability to be not beholden to the foods that I used to be able to, tied with hopefully we get to be together longer.
Yeah, that's mine. I don't want to wake up with you dead next to me.
That's true. That'd be a lot of work.
It's a good goal.
Our ground is hard.
I mean, I haven't had any of the weight loss success that other people have had with keto. I have the mental clarity. I feel like it's okay. I'm still spacey, but I'm better spacey. And I feel like I don't get that 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon like slump anymore. But the main reason why I still keto is because if I don't, he won't, and I don't want to wake up with him dead next to me. So,
Aaron, how about you? What's your number one why?
It started out to not develop any more autoimmune issues, and hopefully I've done that, but now it's more so that I could live a long, healthy life and be able to do my own stuff when I'm older and not rely on, eventually other people, my daughter and stuff like that as I get older, and, hopefully set an example for her in the process that she'll realize at some point. There's a lot.
Greg, how about you?
Oh, there's a lot of different whys. First off, I just started off, I needed to lose weight because was pretty much disabled. That was my biggest thing. And then obviously I've got 2 daughters getting married this year. I want to look my best and be able to walk them down the aisle. That was a big one. And then the other thing is, I lost my dad when I was at a younger age, and not to weight. He had dementia, but I missed out all these years of not having a dad in my life. And I figure, you know what, I want to be there for my kids and my grandkids. So, for me, it was like pretty simple, it's so I can be around my family longer, be there for them, be there. Cause like I said, I lost that opportunity with my dad. So I want to be able to be there for my kids and grandkids, future grandkids.
Yeah.
Okay. And my why is basically I have 3 kids, and they're in college now, but I want to make sure that I am able to watch them grow up and have kids of their own, have grandkids and so forth, and that I'm able to properly provide for my family, my wife, and so forth. So that is my why. Right. Again, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask them with the queue in the front. We've got a little bit of time left before we're probably going to drop, like another 5-6 minutes or so here. We'll get close to 8:30. We'll, end the show. Greg, I don't think we asked you. Did you have any questions that you wanted to ask?
I just mainly a couple comments. I thought that was kind of interesting as I've kind of watched your channel is one, my channel started as a review channel. I reviewed products, and it turned to weight loss products early. And then as I went on my weight loss journey, it switched to my weight loss life, just because it was easier to talk about. That's what was going on in my life. The other thing, and I'm thinking it's you guys, don't you guys have like an eBay store? Do you sell stuff on eBay?
Yes.
I do, yes. I've been selling on eBay for 20 years.
Yep, I do that as well on the side. I thought that was kind of unique too, because there's a couple things there that were similar. So needless to say, I'm on a weight loss journey and too. So I thought that was pretty cool. So
you'll have to send us your eBay store name, and we can chit chat and talk about things.
yeah, it's interesting. I've kind of let it go, to be honest. I mean, I've got a store up, but I don't hardly post anything, which needless to say, or list anything, I should say. You don't sell when you aren't listing. So
very true.
But yeah, it was kind of nice, especially during the pandemic. I mean, a lot of stuff was selling really well, just because people were looking for things. So
yeah. I mean, not that it was really nice, but it was very nice. That was a good time frame for eBay sellers for sure. Yeah. People were buying all kinds of crazy stuff.
She has a channel as well, but we haven't been putting a lot of content up. It's still kind of slowly kind of growing even without new content. So we do have plans to continue to create content because
my editor is busy a lot.
So I just basically turn the camera on. She does her stuff. Then I go through and edit it and put it up. She doesn't even know how to get into her own YouTube channel.
No, I don't.
So
he doesn't like that I say and
so I cut a lot of her.
So there's a lot of like cuts all the way through it. I've been working on trying not to say it as much.
Yeah. And putting yourself on camera really does help with those, because even when I first started, I had a lot of weird verbal tics that I didn't realize I had. I would make like sounds and stuff like that. You start seeing that, and you just slowly start to try to remove that because you start to notice it. And as an editor, you get irritated with yourself because you don't even know you're making noises.
Yeah.
I think I'm endearing, damn it.
You are.
All right, we got another question that came in. What are your current goals with keto?
So for us and me specifically, to try to get back where I was pre-pandemic weight-wise, but it's part of the goal. But the goal, really, the overarching goal, is to maintain consistency. One of the things that I've tried to say this year is, instead of a New Year's resolution, I want to just be more consistent, and just so basically consistency over perfection is where I want to be for 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be more days than not making the right choices, more days than not doing the right things, you know, whether it's diet related or relationship related with our granddaughter, anything and everything related. Just be consistent, because if you can't find consistency, you're not going to find success.
Being more mindful about choices in life in general. Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer's got a question too. She said Dustin stated he does some extended fasting. Do you others do extended fasting? Chandra, I don't know. Do you do it?
Oh no, I don't fast. No. I probably could benefit from it, but no, I'm not doing that. People will die if I don't have my coffee. So
She'll forget to have me make sure. She won't tell me she's hungry until sometimes it's too late.
That happens, but it's usually an accidental fast.
Yeah.
Like I've been doing stuff or busy all day, and I'm like, oh, it's 10 o'clock at night. I can't eat now. Oh, well, I guess I didn't. But no, I don't fast intentionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron, how about you?
I've never done extended. I did intermittent for a very long time. And then once I started getting heavier into like the weightlifting and stuff, I couldn't do it anymore. I had to add food and extra meals, but never an extended one. I don't know if I could do that. Really don't.
Greg?
Just intermittent for me. And I actually probably need to get back to that a little bit, because it really does make a difference. You close your eating window, to 4 or 6 hours, and that does help. I can do it for a day or two, and then it's like I kind of go off of that, but I know it does help. And my wife was very successful losing weight with just doing fasting. She wasn't even watching the carbs or any of that, and she lost weight. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Okay. And for me, I don't really do any extended fasting. The most I've done is like a 24-hour fast. So it's intermittent fasting basically. But pretty much every day I do intermittent fasting, where I'll eat in like a 5 to 6 hour window. And so I'm in, there's the 18 to 19 hour window that I'm not eating. So that's intermittent fasting. But in terms of extended fasting, I never done that. So let's see. Do we have anything else?
I think your longest was 21 days.
Yeah. It's a long one.
Not going to do it.
I wouldn't recommend it for most people. It was an interesting experience. I did it basically to see if I could do it. It wasn't necessarily for any kind of health benefit necessarily, obviously fasting, but it was more just to prove to myself, because I had done 7 days, 14 days. I made it to 15 days trying to get to 21 days. And then I started over again and did 21 days. And it was a bad timing, because in the middle of it, we're having the floors redone in our house and trying to move everything from downstairs, upstairs, downstairs, from inside, outside to the garage. And I was worn out.
Don't ever
so
do
easy.
that if that's what you're gonna
Yeah.
fast.
It was awful timing. Yeah.
I got to move all of our
I
furniture
helped
twice.
you some.
You barely helped because you felt so puny.
You know what?
That was not. It was not.
And
fun.
she doesn't let me lift heavy stuff even to this day.
I know his hernia is repaired, but I just don't want him to pop a seam. You know.
Fair enough.
Yep. All right. Well, we're basically at an hour and a half. So I want to thank you for coming on the show today. And also, like, do you have any like parting comments, words, or whatever for the audience that you want to say before we end the show?
Well, I want to say thank you for having us. It's always a great thing to get invited to come on shows like this. I love talking with new people. I've had, Aaron and I have talked at length. First time I think ever talking to you, Brian, which is, a lovely experience. And Greg, we'd email back and forth. So realistically, just thank you so much for having us on here. Everybody that we aren't familiar with in the chat, thank you so much for coming in and interacting with us. It means the world to us. And if you are interested in us at all, again, we do lives on Tuesdays, the two of us. I have lives on Saturdays where I talk with guests. I'm kind of booked through March. I just booked my first April date. I'm trying to be careful with not going too far out because I don't want to have to move and shift things around too much. And then I do a Sunday morning, and then I put out other content. And I'm always willing to talk with anybody and have conversations and do all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. It's been fun.
All right.
You're welcome. We're glad you could come on and join us. It's been fun. I've been watching more of your content to learn a little bit more about you because I have seen quite a few of your episodes, but it's always nice to learn new channels and see what other people are doing and what they're working on. And you guys got a great channel. So if any of my viewers are out there, make sure you go check them out at their channel and give them a sub and support what they're doing. They do a great job.
Thanks.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah. Greg, real quick before we drop, do you want to announce who we have coming on the show next week?
Yeah, next week. Actually, he was on the Low Carb Football Party. Brad Tiedemann is coming on. He's a type 1 diabetic, and he's going to come on and talk about his low carb diet and how it's changed his life and his wife's life. They lost 90 pounds, let alone they can manage their diabetes better than ever being on a low carb diet. So he's going to come on next Thursday. So that'll be a good show too. Bring your questions.
All right. That's great. Again, Dustin and Chandra, thanks for coming tonight, and thanks for watching, everyone.